Welcome everybody back to our series of exciting webinars. I'm Dr. Renu, the consultant medical evangelist from SigTuple, and I'm very happy to have all of you back here listening to some invigorating topics that we have to offer. So before I do that, I'd like to give a brief introduction of SigTuple. In a very changing, ever-changing landscape of innovation, AI, and technology, it sometimes gets very confusing and also intimidating when we're trying to adopt these technologies in our day-to-day practice in the laboratory. And in our talk today by our guest speaker, we will see how we could actually have a perspective of this and see how we could exploit the benefits and use it to our advantages as we are navigating through the challenges which we do experience sometimes. And where is this going into the future? So as you know about SigTuple, we are a data-driven intelligence for healthcare, where we combine optics as well as data science, as well as robotics to come up with creative AI-based solutions for pathology. And the most important thing that we're looking at over here is automating the manual microscopic review in clinical laboratories. We're democratizing the microscope by enabling AI-assisted remote review unhindered by geographical boundaries. I think all of you are very familiar with our device, which is the AI100. It's one device with multiple solutions. The two most important solutions, in fact, our flagship solution has been Shonit, which is CE certified as well as FDA cleared as of today. It's used for the AI-based automated morphological analysis of WBCs, RBCs, and platelets. And we have a urine microscopic solution where we look at the classification of the objects in the abnormal urine samples. The most important thing is that you could do this with remote-based access. The slide is put into our scanner. The optic scans the slide. The images are taken and put on a cloud-based platform where it would be accessible to anybody having an internet-enabled device. And that could be your desktop, your laptop. You could even look at it in your phone, and then especially with remote-based access. We are entirely IoT-driven. We are 100% IoT-driven. We have a sensitivity of more than 90% for the solutions which are available out over there. We have done a lot of clinical trials, and we have more than 30 publications and 26 granted patents as well in India as well as in the US. A little bit about both of the solutions. Shonit is predominantly for the screening and the examination and analysis of peripheral blood smears. We're stain agnostic, so you could use any of the Romanowsky stains. The AI-driven analysis is for looking at the cell morphology of the WBCs, where you get a 7-part differential. Along with that, included in that are the immature granular size, as well as the blasts and atypical cells. The RBC morphology will provide you the anisocytosis as well as the poikilocytosis. And then you have the platelets, where you get the platelet count, as well as platelet morphology for the giant platelets, as well as the platelet clumps. You also get a fantastic microscopic view, which gives you the seamless transition to move from the stereotypical manual microscopy and move on to a digital-based platform where you can look at the image-based evidence and then use that as to assist you in making your diagnosis. For the urine solution, we give you you can use the cartridge which is provided, a microfluidic cartridge. And once the sample is put into the microfluidic cartridge and is analyzed on the same scanner, you would get the AI-based evidence for the particles in urine, the elements in urine, the WBC, RBCs, crystals, casts, epithelial cells, yeast, etc., and microorganisms. And all of this with the visual aids, which will help you to bring about an accurate diagnosis. And as I already mentioned earlier, you have this evidence-based reports, which you can see from anywhere in the world, and it's so seamless. It's a very user-friendly software. You can just browse through it, go through the different parameters, click onto it, edit it, modify it, update your reports, and then finally approve it. You also have the brilliant microscopic view where you can zoom in and zoom out with the enhanced zoom, and it makes it very easy for a pathologist because you feel as if you're looking under the microscope itself. It's just that if you have a good screen in front of you, like the one that I have right now in front of me, it gives you a very beautiful, clear image of the cells, and you'll be able to not just identify, categorize, as well as give your impressions on the same platform. Once you look at the WBC parameters, you move on to the RBC, where you look at the anisocytosis as well as the poikilocytosis. You browse through that again. You can make your edits. You can actually even override the AI wherever you think it is necessary. And after that, you go on to the platelets. Once you go onto the platelets, you get this good view of both the microscopic view of the 100x, where you can do a good count, as well as look at the platelet morphology, where you can see the giant platelets as well as the platelet clumps. And then you have the microscopic view as well. The same thing can be done with the urine software as well, which is called a Shrava. And as you can see here, you have the microscopic view again. You have the patch view again for all the elements in urine, which is the RBCs, the pus cells, the epithelial cells, cast crystals, microorganisms. You can very seamlessly just go from patch to patch, edit and modify wherever required, and finally update it before you approve the report. This is the microscopic view, which I was talking about. Seamlessly, you will be able to shift this microscopic view as if you're going through the field. And then you have the rollover zoom, which also enables you to go over the cells and look at the cells in detail. You can also see from which part of the smear the field is from, looking at the green dots. You can either click on the arrows or you can click onto the green dots and choose a field of interest and then analyze the cells. So this kind of gives you that freedom and the familiarity as if you're looking at the smear under the microscope. The similar thing can be seen in the urine analysis as well, where you have the full microscopic view. Again, seamlessly, you can move from a 40x to a 100x with a rollover zoom. You can go on to the slide overview and choose the dots from there to see which part of the smear that you want to analyze. You can keep looking at it. And as you keep doing this, you're actually framing a diagnosis in your mind. You're making an impression in your mind. It's just as you are going to be doing it on a manual microscope. Once you're done with all of this, you go to the summary page where you click on and then put in your inferences out over there, you put in your comments out over there, and then you update and approve the report. And once you approve the report, you will be able to send that through an email. You will be able to take a print, or you would be able to actually integrate it with your existing LIS and release the report to your patient within no time. We've also added things like malarial parasite, which is a value addition, and you can see that it picks up the various stages of the parasite, and you will be able to look at the visual evidence again and then put on your impressions and even give some comments on the species. So I'm going to end the introduction in a short way because we have a very invigorating talk coming up from our guest speaker, who I will be introducing to you today. And before that, I'm going to just change the screen. So our speaker for today is the dynamic, the vibrant, the eloquent, and one of the most amazing pathologists of our times today, Dr. Kunal Sharma. He is the Associate Director and HOD of the Center of Excellence in Histopathology at Mumbai Reference Lab Agilus Diagnostics and leads the digital pathology and artificial intelligence initiatives for Agilus. He was trained in oncopathology from HCG Cancer Hospital in Bangalore. And he has, numerous key and leadership positions in the previous roles and organizations where he has worked earlier. He was earlier with the Department of Histopathology and Flow Cytometry at Agilus Laboratory and Fortis Hospitals in Bangalore, in charge of the Reference Center of Uropathology as well. And before that, consultant pathologist, head of quality and technical lead of HLM projects, Core Diagnostics Gurgaon. He has contributed as a keynote plenary speaker, presenter, and faculty at numerous prestigious national and international conferences. And you can see them out over here, the names of the conferences in which he has contributed. He has numerous publications in journals of high repute as well, like the Archives of Pathology, the American Journal of Hematology. The study on double and triple hit lymphomas, one of the largest from India, was presented at the International Leukemia, Lymphoma, and Myeloma Congress in New York. He is the chief editor of the Hematolymphoid Neoplasm section with Path Presenter as well. He's a member of the Digital Pathology Association USA, editor with Indian Journal of Surgical Oncology, leading industry expert on various healthcare matters in the media with publishing platforms like LifeMint. You'll find his publications and on Times of India, as well as if you keep browsing through the newspapers. He was awarded the COVID-19 State Welfare Icon of the Year in 2020. The most dynamic specialist professional pathologist of the year at the Healthcare Summit and Awards for 2022. So with a lot of excitement, I'm here to introduce him. And over to you, Dr. Kunal Sharma. And we were looking forward to hear from you what you have to talk to us about AI today, the present, the scenario which is there today, and the rush, and obviously the future where AI is taking us towards in India. So thank you for again participating and being our guest speaker for today. And yes, over to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Renu. First of all, I would like to thank you and SigTuple for giving me this platform to be able to share my thoughts with everyone. I think none of us can shy away from the fact that we are in a digitizing world, and technology is only here to become more robust and here to stay, no matter which field of life we are in. So, without much delay, I would like to share my thoughts on where we stand in India and how we should streamline the rush and what does the future look like. Are my slides visible?
Yes, it is.
All right. Uh, before getting into the mainstream, let us first understand what digital pathology is. So, digital pathology is the creation of dynamic image-based environment that enables the acquisition, management, and interpretation of pathology information from a digitized glass slide. We digitize a slide and we create a whole slide image, and from that we evaluate and we extract various information. For the last 100 years, pathology interpretation was done by pathologists using a microscope to view glass slides, the conventional way of reporting, which were made from processed tissue sections, which were taken from a biopsy. The current technologies allow digitization of the glass slide into a high resolution image that can be viewed on a computer, essentially converting the computer into a microscope. So we have moved from the traditional microscopes, and we have we see these slides on a computer screen, and you can see below how a traditional microscope used to look like. And then you can see the middle image, which is of PAX5 weak positive Reed Sternberg cells in a case of Hodgkin lymphoma on a barcode monitor. And that's how the last image is how my current desk looks like. It's got a traditional microscope and it's got a barcode monitor which is connected to a digital scope. So we are somewhere in the middle. We haven't completely digitized everything. We switch from one to the other. But that is the aim. The aim is to completely digitize. The digitization of glass slides not only helps the pathologist to make a diagnosis on the computer screen, but thousands of pixelated data points, they become a treasure trove of information, which researchers can apply AI techniques on to retrieve information which is not normally seen by the human eye. And these AI techniques have already started to help make diagnosis better and faster. We know that there are a lot of AI algorithms that are coming up in both hematology as well as in solid oncology, whether it is breast, whether it is prostate, whether it is even hematology, hematological malignancies. So AI is one of the for AI to work well, the data has to be digitized. So digital pathology is a prerequisite to build AI algorithms. Here you can just see, a difference between where we stand today from the yesteryears. So this is how, our traditional teaching technique used to be. We had a multi-scope at various institutes, and this is how it is today. So we can have slides that we can view from anywhere in the world, any time with an authenticated device, and that gives us hundreds of scopes where people can view the same slide and they can even learn. Yeah, so I was saying that even for educational purposes, we have moved from a multi-header microscope to the screen, which enables us to have almost about hundreds of people viewing the same slide at the same time from anywhere, anytime in the world from an authenticated device. So we discussed that there are a variety of scanners available in the market. These could range from single slide scanners, which scan one slide at a time, to multi-slide scanners, which could be, your few slide scanners, about 3, 4 to 6 slides in one go, or many slides scanners, which scan hundreds of slides in one go, which are also your ultra-fast scanners. There are many companies available in the market which are making these scanners, and also there is the hardware and software requirements for the digital pathology scanners. So let's just go a little bit into the history. This is the screenshot of the early John Hopkins University of Maryland virtual microscope. This was when the Saul's group launched their virtual microscope in 1996. There were no whole slide images at that time. So data was acquired by tiling WSIs using a platform designed to acquire photomicrographs. Then, we had a variety of other innovations. The first system to be developed was the Bliss system, which was designed by James Backus. Then Interscope's ultra-fast robotic whole slide digitizer, which supported integrated slide imaging, case flow, and clinical data management applications. This was acquired by Trestle, which then, supported dynamic image capture along with motorized panning and zooming, which was acquired by Chroma Vision actually, which developed the ACIS system that was capable of quantitative analysis, rare event detection, object counting, and incorporated even tissue microarray. So what exactly happened historically was that one company, whenever they innovated, they were acquired by a larger giant. Then came Aperio, with their array detector. And in 2004, under Dr. Ronald Weinstein, he started a company called Dimetrix, which developed a highly innovative scanning technology consisting of a microscope array designed to rapidly acquire the WSI data. Again, Aperio, innovated further to create the multi-sensor array approach. And the current scanners, they use state-of-the-art optics, robotics, and computers, and they contain a microscope with one or more objective lenses, digital cameras, robotics, and numerous other parts, which could be slide trays, cartridges, light source, barcode readers. There are various innovations that keep happening in these scanners. They could be add-ons of bright field and fluorescence light sources, oil magnification, Z stacking, especially for your cytology cases, and also slide capacities that could range from holding up to 1,000 slides. So this is just your regular scanner, which consists of the scanner and the workstation. Uh, the scanner is where the slides are scanned, and the workstation is the computer which displays these slides. And we could have a variety of algorithms. Also, the new age scanners, which are the hybrid WSIs, which capture live mode scannings, thereby intraoperative consultations are also a reality today. Now, coming to what are the advantages of digital pathology? So, digital pathology offers numerous benefits over traditional methods. It transforms the way pathologists work and improves the diagnostic outcomes. Number one is increased accuracy. With high resolution images, they reduce the risk of diagnostic errors by providing clearer, more detailed views of tissue samples and detect minute details that might be missed with traditional microscopy, thereby providing a more accurate diagnosis and better patient outcomes. Also, digital images can reveal subtle differences in cell morphology and tissue architecture, leading to more precise tumor grading and staging. Digital tools enable the application of standardized measurement protocols, reducing variability and improving consistency in diagnosis. Also, automated image analysis softwares can quantify features such as cell density, nuclear atypia, and microscope mitotic figures, providing objective data to support diagnostic decisions. We know that mitotic figures and IHC parameters like Ki67, even today, a lot of us do eyeballing. So digital pathology actually helps us to objectify and quantify these. It also reduces inter-observer variability and enhances the reproducibility of pathology findings. A very important place where we have been using these is your PT testing for CAP, especially in parameters like KI. These algorithmic objective analysis and estimation, it helps a lot to make sure that we don't have outliers. Uh, Enhanced collaboration, these digital images can easily be shared among specialists worldwide. The specialty centric reporting, fostering collaborative diagnosis and treatment planning. This is particularly beneficial for complex cases requiring multiple expert opinions. Then you can also perform advanced analysis with integration with AI and ML tools that allow for a more sophisticated image analysis and pattern recognition. These technologies can assist pathologists in identifying subtle features and anomalies that may be missed during manual examination. Also, there is an improved efficiency because of automation and digital workflows streamlining the pathology process. It reduces the time required for slide preparation, analysis, and reporting. This results in faster turnaround times for diagnostic results. Imagine a situation, especially since we are a reference laboratory, we get a lot of international cases. So you have blocks which are shipped from countries in Africa, Southeast Asia. Now, if you have a scanner there, you can immediately scan those slides and they can be seen by a pathologist sitting here. What that also does is that it alleviates or mitigates the time that goes in logistics. Also, reprocessing. Every time you take an opinion from a pathologist, they have to reprocess the tissue. And we know that in oncology, tissue is the issue. You have a lot of molecular tests that you need to do. There are companion diagnostic tests that are needed. So every time you process this block, it ensues tissue depletion. So digital pathology is something that also helps you a lot in mitigating that. And very, very important is better storage and retrieval. These digital slides can be stored and retrieved more efficiently than physical slides, reducing the risk of loss or damage. Digital storage also allows for easy organization and access to historical data, aiding in longitudinal studies and research. As of today, a lot of research laboratories are using this data. Even this is being used for drug development. So these are places where digital pathology is becoming inevitable. So if you just see in a nutshell, for primary diagnosis, it increases efficiencies. It is better suited with its workflows. It links WSI to patient records in LIS and other imaging modalities like radiology. No more losing or breaking of slides. Easy to retrieve and archive. Integration of images, whole slides, links to pathology reports, ensuring better communication also. Also, it is better experience. It's easier to make annotations. Pulling out data is easier. It's easier to take photo micrographs even for your seminars and your presentations. It's easier and more accurate digital measurements, especially, if you're measuring depth of invasion of a tumor. Those are kind of parameters which are much better and objectively analyzed by digital pathology. Easier comparisons to immune slides. You can see everything together. I will show you in one of the slides, and it's also easy to share for a quick opinion. You see here, you can see that your HE and multiple IHC slides can all be seen together. Also on the right, you see that we have our own MedGurukul platform in which a pathologist presents their cases with everybody in the network. And we used digital pathology and path presenter software to, make this happen. And hundreds of pathologists can see this going at the same time. So, getting second opinions has become easy. Frozen section consults has become easy. It has resulted in building of AI tools for prognosis, treatment, resistance prediction, companion diagnostics. So you see that it is coming in a big way, even in oncology. The availability of virtual slides provides great power to clinicians to discuss the reports also with patients and their family, also discussions in tumor boards and conferences. Also, there is an ease of getting a second opinion from anyone around the world. You might have a specialist sitting in USA and you might want to show them the case, and they can analyze that in no time and give you an opinion. Also, for a surgeon to get a frozen section consult from subspecialty experts, it's just one click away. So the big picture for digitization results in big data. It is useful in pathomics, radiomics, genomics, clinical and treatment data. It is useful for researchers, AI developers, pharma CROs, and even in clinical trials. Now, there is an opportunity for pathology departments. The opportunity is to redefine workflows for better efficiency, introducing automation and going paperless, both at the main campus as well as the affiliated sites. So much of our storage, so much of our costs are incurred in stationery, in paper, and all of that can be done away with. Many people say that you buy a robot and you buy a scanner. Robot fetches you so much of money and the scanner doesn't. Well, the fact is that we really need to know how to use these scanners, which we'll discuss in subsequent slides. Also, expertise in pathology can bring in pull through revenues when patients come for treatment. Branding of department with novel diagnostic care delivery is also quite an advantage when you are comparing with your peers. This just shows you a workflow in a regular digital laboratory. You have the automated digital slide scanning. Then the pathologist reviews these slides digitally with other clinical data and images. Live or virtual case consults happen in a tumor board, telepathology, or second opinion format. And you can have AI-enabled diagnosis, which help in predictive analysis for even in areas like companion diagnostics. Now, a lot of infrastructure is needed, and you need multiple moving parts from scanner database, whole slide scanners, image storage, viewer application, computational servers, laboratory information system, and you need all of this in a very coordinated fashion. So that is when a digital laboratory becomes a reality. Another very important point I would like to tell everyone is that in variety of prerequisites, in your workflow planning, barcoding and tracking, LIS interface, one thing that you must remember is it is your whole slide that actually gets digitized. So the quality of your glass slide will determine the quality of your digital slide. So always make sure that you prepare slides of extreme high quality. You use the correct kind of slides which are available, the good quality slides in the market. And you have a very robust quality check system, which has to include pre-analytics, analytics, real-time scanner QC, and post-analytic QC. Then, of course, one of the main parts is storage of this data. We know that the major cost that comes is in cloud storage. You can optimize that cost in a variety of ways. You can determine how many slides you have to keep for how long. You don't have to keep all cases in cloud forever. So those are the kind of tweaks that you can do to ensure that this becomes a reality. Then you need validation. Now, validation for a WSI has to be both for the scanner as well as for the computer systems. There are various guidelines which have been provided by the European Union and the College of American Pathologists. I will not go into reading all these guidelines. These are very well available online. So anybody who intend to create a digital laboratory or digital pathology reporting, they should definitely go through these guidelines. Now, they always say that the proof of pudding is in eating. So these are just some of the images that, from our archives of digital reporting of cases. This is a breast mass in a middle-aged woman. And you can see that this looks like this is definitely an invasive carcinoma. And you could very easily do your hormone analysis with ER, PR, and HER2, with ER and PR positive and HER2 being negative. E-cadherin showed positivity and KI was about 15%. So you know that this was a case of invasive ductal carcinoma, no special type. Again, even the companion diagnostics in terms of PDL1, SP142 in this case, you can see the immune cells which have been stained for this case. Then this is another example of a chest wall mass in a young 18-year-old male patient. And you see that there are these large polygonal cells. And if you observe carefully, one cell seems to be eating the other cell, a phenomena that we call as emperipolysis. And when we threw in our markers, these were positive for our histocytic markers and negative for all the other differential markers. So CD68, CD4, HLA-DR, CD163, and BRAF V600E. So with this, what you understand is that it's so easy for me to not only diagnose my cases, but also take these pictures and show you all. So this is another power of digital pathology in terms of propagation of information. Then this is a picture of our SigTuple's very own AI 100, which gives you a beautiful differential count of the WBCs here. And this is the workflow of the AI 100. The smears and slides are scanned on the AI 100, which consists of the optical column fitted with a camera on the top. The optic scans the slides and the camera extracts the images and puts it up on the cloud-based platform. And the AI-based algorithms analyze these images on the cloud and provide the result to the pathologist, which can be viewed via software or any internet-enabled device. So again, you see that this helps us so much because not every laboratory has a histopath there. Most of the laboratories will have, your routines and your peripheral smears and your bone marrow examinations. So those are again places where you need, something as robust as the AI 100. And just like I showed you the case studies on for solid oncology, here are some of the case studies for hematology on the AI 100. You can see here that in the absolute counts, eosinophils are clearly, in the differentials, you see that eosinophils are raised. So this is a beautiful case of eosinophilia, and you can see the images being shown on the other side. This is another case. This is a known case of chronic myeloid leukemia on follow-up. The patient was on irregular treatment and peripheral smear was done for examination. Now, this was again, this was a case of CML which presented with blast crisis. You can see, when we go in detail, here you can see very well that blast percentage is shown as 11.91, but basophils are shown to be 28.77%. And also there are other value addition tools in the AI 100, like, the detection of malarial parasite. This AI assisted detection of malarial parasite happens through the peripheral blood smear. And there is, it displays the detected patches for review by the pathologist. So what also happens through these AI tools is, see, at the fag end of the day, after you've seen so many smears, hundreds of smears, the pathologist can miss these findings. So these are AI tools like, one of our studies that we had done with Microsoft, we did it for LBC. in which it raises these red flags on the areas of concern. Similarly, in AI 100, you see that these kind of areas these patches are detected, and the pathologist can then view them, and these are counted, and you know that you will not miss any important finding. So here you see that ring and trophozoite forms of Plasmodium vivax and ring forms of Plasmodium falciparum, and even their counts and the pictures have been shown so beautifully. Now, coming to streamlining this rush and the future, the issue today is that everybody is just wanting to buy scanners. I meet so many people who have already bought multi-slide scanners and they don't really know what to do. So the right way to go about things in India, especially in a resource limited setting where you've spent a lot of money on these technologies, is to understand your case scenario, to develop a proper business case, especially if you're in the corporate setting, and then to go about the science of digitization. So you have to bring an order in the chaos, you have to bring a method in this madness, and you have to streamline the rush that everybody is having to start digital pathology. You see, one of the biggest companies in West today has had a massive layover. I would not go and naming this company, but this was one of the pioneering companies in digital pathology. So we have to make sure that whatever we do it in a way which is sustainable in the longer run. Now, you see, there are many, many laboratories. There are the reference laboratories, there are the hospital-based laboratories, there are the smaller laboratories, clinical laboratories, and there are the research laboratories. Now, the use case scenario is different for each laboratory. For a smaller laboratory, you might not want to have a pathologist. You might have about 20 cases in a day. So those are the places where you should put your single slide scanners. We at Agilus, we have multitude of single slide scanners which have been put in a variety of international locations. And the cases are scanned there, and our pathologists sitting in our global reference lab in Mumbai, they report these cases. Now, for a reference laboratory kind of a setup, you need, your main thing could be data storage, archival, and even building of AI algorithms. So that is a place where you need your multiple slide scanners and your ultra fast scanners, which scan hundreds of slides. Similarly, when you're dealing with, research laboratories or, clinical research laboratories, which are dealing with drug delivery, you again need scanners which are robust and can scan hundreds of slides. So it's important for you to understand what do you need digitization and AI for. Now, another very important question in India people ask me is that what are the streams of revenue? So you can have a lot of streams of revenue. Primary diagnosis could be a stream of revenue. We do diagnose cases across continents, and from a practical point, we have to understand that these are all billed in dollars or in international currencies. So, of course, and they will still be cheaper than those people sending the case to an expert sitting in US and them doing a consult for them. Another stream of revenue is your second opinions or consults, which can happen with the best of the best in the industry, and that is a service that you can provide to your end users. We in India today are, a lot of people say that it's becoming so expensive, diagnostics is expensive. But if you see, even if we talk about a companion diagnostics, um, let's say a PDL1 test, which costs somewhere between 8,000 to 10,000 rupees, and the immunotherapy that you will take will cost about 3 to 4 lakh rupees per cycle. So you see, diagnostics is not really expensive. It's the mindset that needs to change. Similarly, in digitization, people say it's so expensive. No, it's not really expensive if you see the value proposition that it has at hand. And of course, there's a need to make sure that we don't break prices in the market or disrupt those prices. Only then will we be able to sustain businesses across organizations. The other stream of revenue is data. All this pixelated data is actually a gold mine. People need this for validation. People need this for AI algorithm development. People need this for drug deliveries. And another thing is education. As I told you, that sitting in one place, we can have multitude of computers at various locations in the world, which are all like microscopes, and people can see the same case, and they can learn so much through digitization. Now, with that, let us also very briefly look at the way forward. The way forward, of course, is an India which is completely digitized in terms of pathology reporting. It is not impossible. We are somewhere in the middle, as I told you, but we are getting there. There are places which have a complete digitization in place, but that's what we need to do. And when we see the cost benefits in terms of the real estate, people can report sitting at home. Also, in terms of calamities, it gives us so much of an advantage. Even with the Ukrainian war crisis, people were able to report cases because of digitization. Now, then biopharmaceuticals and CROs, as I told you, for drug deliveries also, for drug developments also, the AI and digital pathology is being used. Then quantitative analysis of emerging companion diagnostics and novel theranostics, especially in multiplex assays and complex assays, in which all parts of a cell stain, but we only need staining, let's say just the nuclear staining has to be taken into account. Also to generate diagnostic and prognostic scoring by combining histopath, IHC, and images with that of other modalities like FACS, MALDI-TOF, FISH, and molecular tests. And last but not the least, for education, because as we have already discussed, it gives us an international leverage sitting at one place in no time. And there is so much that you can do. You can build your slide boxes. You can teach in institutes. You can share cases across the globe. So there is so much that can happen with digital pathology in times to come, and that is, a future not very far from now. So just to conclude, digital pathology and AI are here to stay and will continuously transform the delivery of uh, precision medicine. We are preparing for a transition into digital pathology practice, and that should start now. It will allow us planning and decisions to be fiscally responsible, proactive, and innovative rather than be forced into a digital pathology workflow. Digital pathology solutions also have the potential to address the diagnostic, logistic, and operational challenges in the laboratory environment, and it can increase the throughput and decrease stat, thereby increasing the productivity and efficiency of the pathologist. Also, it creates an environment where a pathologist can gain remote access of digital images for verification and approval of reports. It obviates the need for the physical availability of slides and microscope during reporting. It reduces manual error. As we know, the objectivity quotient of digitization is extremely high. So it reduces manual error and removes ambiguity, which is associated, with your conventional reporting, and it allows standardization, reproducibility, and even scalability. Then it enables telepathology and creates a vista of opportunities for educational and research-related activities. These are just, so with that, I would conclude my talk. And, these are just some of the images from various talks that we take across the globe. And one image is even from Pathology Visions with some of the doyens of digital pathology. And this is my team at our Mumbai Reference Laboratory. So with that, I would like to conclude my talk. And I would again like to thank Dr. Renu and SigTuple for giving me this opportunity. If there are any questions, I would be very happy to answer them.
Thank you, Dr. Kunal, for such a deep, invigorating talk on the different perspectives of AI, the challenges, and how do we navigate through those challenges, which you've very rightly shown us. And we would like to take any questions at this point of time. If anybody in the audience has any questions, we'll be more than happy to take that.
Good evening, Ms. Dr. Renu. This is Dr. Piyush Patnaik. I'm from Sterling Insurance.
Yes, Dr. Piyush.
Dr. Kunal, hi. This is Dr. Piyush Patnaik. How are you?
Hi, Piyush, how are you?
Yeah, fine. कैसा चल रहा है?
Bas, all well.
So I just wanted to ask one question. Like digital pathology for histopathology is fine when it's coming for a second opinion or something like that. But when you're talking of peripheral smears and SigTuple AI100 is basically we are planning to use them for our peripheral laboratories where the access for pathologist is not available. So if I want to use this machine in a peripheral center where peripheral smears can be transported to the main reference laboratory and can be reported by the pathologist at that center. So is this digital reporting from a peripheral center valid as per Indian government rules? Because as per the Supreme Court hearing, it has specifically mentioned that the pathologist needs to see the slides physically and approve the slides and their signature if they are using. That person should be available in that particular town where the reporting has been done. I mean, the slide has been taken. So is this authenticated or valid?
So I think you've already answered that question. The guidelines are pretty clear, of the presence of a pathologist in that place. So I think there is no ambiguity there.
So that is what, so I mean, if I have to use AI100, then I need to think of a way where the machine as well as the pathologist is placed in the same city. I cannot change the city, that means, right?
Yeah, I
Like
think,
say, if yes.
Dr. Renu, would you like to take that question, throw your insights as well on that?
So definitely there will be a person in charge in any kind of a peripheral lab out over there. Now, for instance, there would be a pathologist and looking at not just the reporting, they're basically in charge of the lab and looking at other things. Now if your expert is sitting somewhere else, obviously they will be able to assist them, right, and aid them in in kind of reaching to an inference of giving a proper diagnosis out over there. So in a way,
So
there
that
will
means you're
be a
talking of a
signatory.
second, it's more of a second opinion, right?
Yeah, second opinion, and I'm sure these rules will also change in time. The thing is that we are also
It's a
working from
dynamic
both
environment, right?
ends. We are working from
Yeah,
both ends. Things differ from state to state as well. Different parts of the countries are coming up with their own kind of demands from the government and from the authorities and the governing bodies. And I think it's a matter of time when there would be more clearer answers to this. But definitely, we're taking the plunge towards the right direction where we can put
sure,
these
sure.
in the periphery, and that's where the expertise is lacking. See, the expertise lacks in the periphery. Everybody is more centered in ref labs where the expertise is available. And the kind of service that you can actually provide, by keeping such devices out over there, you could put a signatory person out over there, but the assistance can be obviously provided from an expert who's sitting out in another city far away from there. And I think it's a great help to a patient at the end of the day. And I'm sure
Sure.
within time, rules would change. And we hope that a day comes when these rules are even more clear from different perspectives, how we could openly do these things in the future. I think we're already moving towards that. That's also something, going forward, things would definitely change on those fronts.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Piyush, for that question. Anybody else with any questions in their mind?
I have a question for you, Dr. Kunal. So when you're looking at early adoption, especially for the youngsters, for the new generation, right, and somebody who's not been so used to using digital pathology in their practice and more dependent on just manual microscopy, the stereotypical dependence on, manual microscopy, how would you advise someone like that in order to transit from a habit of being on the manual microscope, being in the lab, and removing that fear that, what if I do now take this transition into digital pathology? How would that affect me? Would I, and possibility, to remove that fear or the intimidation to, giving reports with more confidence on a platform like this? How would you give that advice to the generation today?
So, there's this quote by Charles Darwin that, people who survive the longest are not the ones who are the strongest, but are the ones who are most adaptable to change. So we live in a world where, giants like Nokia don't exist. They lost their significance. Kodak lost its significance to Sony and, Canon and Nikon. And, Nokia lost its significance to iPhones and Samsung. So the point is that if you don't move with time, you become redundant. The fact is that it's very important to adopt newer technologies, especially to at least give them a try. We are all very scared of newer zones. We don't, we are cocoons of familiarity, and we don't really like to explore newer things. So for the younger generation, I would just like to say that they should explore this technology for them to understand, how this is better than their traditional microscopes, and also the possibilities that happen through this. You can have your AI algorithms being built around it. You can have drug development happening around it. So it's very important for them to try this, and trying is the only way that you get used to something, you become familiar with something. Maybe in the beginning, this transition, you can do validation studies between a conventional microscope and a digital to get a hang of both. But then eventually you will have to start reporting on a digital platform to be able to get used to it.
So do you think that in the future, for the pathologists of today, would this become like a prerequisite and a mandatory thing that they would have to know as the years go by?
Uh, the point is, I would like to put it this way, that this would be uh, you know an arsenal in their kitty, which would definitely help them and give them a massive edge over the others. Because a lot of people are, there are these discussions going on that because of digital pathology, with pathologists' jobs be in jeopardy. So though now when you have such kind of discussions, maybe it doesn't impact in a very big way, but even if it impacts in a smaller way and it becomes progressively increasing, you would want to have pathologists who have a knowledge of digital pathology, and who are champions of this cause, who will probably be at a more advantageous position.
Thank you for that. Any more questions from the audience?
Hello.
Yes, Dr. Anand.
Hello. Yes, Dr. Kunal, this was a wonderful talk. This is Dr. Anand from South Africa, University of the Free State. Actually, it was very good, informative. Actually, just want to know what is actually the digital pathology is only for imaging diagnostics or all the data, like for example, molecular result, and for example, you're talking about a fish, you're talking about multi-mass result. So I just want to understand digital pathology is integrating all the diagnostic method or just only for imaging diagnostic result.
So
Actually,
it's like,
I'm not I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a scientist in chemical pathology. But the field is coming up integrated with the artificial intelligence. But I just want to understand digital pathology means only for microscopy result-based diagnostic, or we can integrate with the molecular like a PCR or Western blot, other molecular chemistry result. I just want to understand clear picture.
So
What
you
is the
see,
digital pathology?
digital pathology per se, as we remember the definition, it is about the slide that we have and we scan it and, we look at it digitally as a whole slide image. But what we've been
Yes.
able to do eventually is that, as I told you that, we have this console now where we have the radiology images, we have the pathology images, and now we are going a step further with integrating them to, uh, the molecular AIs and the other artificial intelligence algorithms which exist. And once you're able to integrate them, you know that you have quite an integrated analysis happening for that particular case. So while your conventional definition was pertaining to WSIs, but eventually we've been able to do much more than that. I hope that answers your question.
Yes. So that means it's integrating technology. It's,
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah. Thank you.
Any more questions? Or if anybody has a perspective that they want to talk about of their experience, if somebody is using digital pathology in their practice, more than welcome to share that as well on this forum. Well, I guess that most of the points were already addressed, Dr. Kunal. So we would definitely sink back and reflect on the points that you have spoken about. And I hope that was fruitful for the rest of the audience here in this webinar as well. I'm sure we'll be having many such discussions and talks in the future. And that's probably one way in which we could share information on forums like this, making it more easier to understand such newer emerging concepts of technology and innovation, and get the best out of it, all of us collectively together. And we really appreciate everybody taking their time out on an evening on Saturday and being present here in this webinar with us. And thanking you, Dr. Kunal, again for taking a time out on a very, very busy Saturday evening from your practice and giving us this wonderful lecture that you have shared with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Everyone.
Yeah.
So if there are no more questions from the audience, then we would like to end this webinar for now. And we look forward for the next webinar, and we will keep you posted on that in the future. And we would love to have all of you back here again. Thank you very much.